Now, an employee in Japan who wishes to remain anonymous is taking his company to court for patahara, or paternity harassment. Now, he says he's been sidelined at work since taking paternity leave to look after his two sons. The practice should be quite common in Japan. The law there guarantees paternity leave, but only 6% of men actually take it. Well, in a similar but completely separate case, Glen, a Canadian single dad who's lived in Japan for 30 years, is also taking his company to court for unfair dismissal. His hearing begins in October, and he joins me now from Tokyo. Welcome to the programme, Glen, and thank you for coming on the show to talk to us about what happened. Tell us exactly the situation leading up to your case.
Good morning, Sharon Jeet. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me. So in 2015, my son was born prematurely, and he was in the intensive care unit, life-or-death situation. I'd applied for paternity leave, which was rejected, and then when I returned to work, I was harassed and fired. It's time for change in the workplace in Japan, Sharon Jeet. This type of behavior is unacceptable. Harassment is never an acceptable form of management, and young men and women have the right to have children enjoy their family and continue their careers.
Now, Glen, your employer, Mitsubishi UFJ Morgan Stanley, they actually dispute your claim. They say they enthusiastically support employees' paternity leave. In fact, we know it's been guaranteed by law for about 20 years. Only 6% of men currently take it. Interesting that the other case that I mentioned, the person filing it wishes to remain anonymous. So tell us, why is there such a situation in Japan like this?
Indeed, the law's been in place for more than 20 years, and it's an extremely good law, Sharon Jeet, for both men and women to take maternity and paternity leave. The fact is that very few men are able to put up their hand and take it, and those that do, research shows, are then harassed and fired, which brings us back to the main point here and why we've started the online petition at change.org. We need a zero-tolerance policy for harassment in the workplace. Harassment is never an acceptable form of management.
And your case, which is currently the one underway as well this week, it could potentially change things quite dramatically and set something of a precedent. What will it take, do you think, to change these perceptions in Japan?
Yes, this is very much ingrained in Japanese corporate culture. To take holidays or take paternity leave is viewed as treasonous. So we're doing a number of things. You know, I've written a book in English and Japanese, which is due to be published, talking about my experience, the experience of others being harassed. Tens of thousands of people have reached out to me, Sharon Jeet, about this issue. We're also very excited about launching an ESG fund. E, as you know, is environmental policy. S is for social policy, including harassment policies. And G is for corporate governance. So this gives investment managers an opportunity to put their money where their mouth is, to really invest in corporations which are adding value to society as well as being profitable. And I believe that's the very heart of capitalism.
All right, Glen Wood, thank you so much for coming on our programme and talking to us about your case.